every day, and now you are an actor. Ha. What an amazing show we have for you tonight. Holy moly, moly, moly. What is going on, guys? It's Adam A.K. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. I'm going to be bringing up several things, including an old video, but I'm also going to be bringing up the future of all of us right now. There are some extremely crazy things happening right now, and I say a lot of things usually as my kind of normal openers, but today, again, there is definitely more than usual. We're in a countdown of about exactly a month, or a little bit over a month, until we for sure have no craziness. So I do want to point you out to, I want to send you guys to an older video as well, because of what we said almost now over a year ago, before all of this started. As you can see, this was over a year ago. The whole world knows, but are doing nothing. This was called, of course, pandemic, only allies survive. And then, of course, this video in particular, proof, this is huge, proof they know something. And this video is when I believe that right before this, we got the information, and then we got another piece right before I started the show. And you can actually tell it while you're watching this show. And definitely go over and watch this. We will link this on Marfoogle News. Very, very creepy stuff. Let me see if I can turn the sound here. And I'm actually going to be playing that in just a second. I do want to remind you guys, nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else on the show. And then you should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news. Of course, take everything with a grain of salt. Now, with that out of the way, of course, if you are not getting notifications from the algorithm gods, make sure to get ours. In fact, all these people always say, hey, I'm not getting notifications. Well, you're not signed up for ours, because if you were, you would be getting them. Again, you can go to marfooglenews.com for not only push notifications directly to your phone, or you can also sign up for marfooglenews.com email alerts. Again, this website is set up very, very easy. It's in fact organized by thumbnail. So today's show, the next big one, we're going to be talking about the CME or the solar flare heading towards us, all of that kind of stuff. Hopefully, we might have Wages World call in. I talked to him right before the show started. He was currently live as well, and he was, I believe, finishing up. So easy enough. Go to this website, marfooglenews.com. Click on the next 24 hours. That title is subject to change, but that thumbnail will be the same. And you'll see that we have every single article, every single video has a source, a bibliography of sorts, so you know where we're getting our news from. You also know where these stories are and if they're authoritative or not. And then again, if this is something that I guess if it's something that we don't have a source on, we're going to tell you that. We're going to make sure to clarify that. And usually it's something of opinion or something else, and we'll make sure that you know. And then Dex, it looks like he already added the one video. If you can, Dex, go up to that second one, and I'm sure you're probably already trying to add that right now. That is the one that I really want them to watch, because that was, I mean, you can't get much clearer than that. We knew that was coming, and we showed you. So again, crazy stuff. And the reason for that is the same group that has let us know about that and let us know about that beforehand is the same group letting us know about a lot of the stuff that's going on right now. So we'll get into that later. Of course, lots and lots of crazy chatter in our military groups and everything else. So we'll talk about that as well. Bill I. Breckenridge, thank you for being the first one out today, along with Eric, the original copper colored anyways, being the last one out yesterday. This is pretty crazy. Now, it's actually really weird. Kremlin sounds alarm over doomsday plane robbery. This is actually a point where I'm going to bring in Dex. Dex is my co-host. Dex, what do you think about this Kremlin doomsday plane robbery? Now, they didn't steal the plane, Dex. They apparently stole some equipment. Is that right?
Well, yeah. Hey, Adam. Certainly, that's kind of crazy because it looks like they took about $13,000 worth of equipment off of the plane, and the Kremlin is really upset, to say the least. I guess it was parked at a at an airfield, and this is a plane for diplomats during crisis to be in the air, and obviously some of the stuff taken probably was pretty important items.
Now, this is their equivalent of our doomsday plane. We have two, or well, I don't know how many we have. We at least have two up that go up when the president goes up. They have one usually with the president or staff on it, and then a second one that's a decoy, just like they have Air Force One and then a decoy Air Force One. They have the Mercury M6B or whatever. You guys can correct me in the chat. Again, we have a doomsday plane of our own, and these planes are designed to run indefinitely. In fact, if you see the front here, that is where they can actually refuel in the air at 30,000 feet or however high with a fuel tanker. Will pull right up, and then they will attach with this little nose nozzle, and they will get more gas. So this could run, for 2, 3, 4, or 5 months if they have to, until they find a place to land or if safe to land. Now, the fact that this was robbed, even if it's Russia, it seems to me kind of strange that this thing was in an airfield and somebody was able to get to this. You would think that this would be one of the most protected planes in one of their arsenals. One, because it is so expensive, but two, because of the importance of it, especially with Russia, China, and the USA. Of course, those are the three countries that really do care about this plane more than most. So again, all the major countries that have nukes have these kind of planes, and even countries that don't have these kind of planes, and they're extremely expensive. They are a mobile command center. They can literally run the country of choice from the plane. It says the Kremlin on Wednesday sounded the alarm over the theft of sensitive equipment from, quote, a doomsday plane designed to shield top command from the effects of a nuclear explosion. The Interior Ministry said police in the southern city of Taganrog had been alerted that 1 million rubles, or about $13,000 worth of equipment, had been stolen from an Ilyushin Il-80 plane at an airfield. It says President Vladimir Putin's spokesman, Dmitry Peskov, described the breach as, quote, an emergency situation. Now, that $13,000 doesn't sound like much, but I believe, as you can see, it's 1 million rubles over there. I believe that 13,000 US gets you a lot farther in different stuff over there. I don't know what that would be the equivalent over there, but it seems like even if it was 13,000, what is that specific $13,000 piece of equipment that they took? They said it was an emergency situation. Is it their football? Is it their equivalent of the nuclear suitcase or something? Did they steal the nuclear buttons off it? I don't know. This is just super random and super weird. It says the Interior Ministry did not specify what was stolen, but said that the investigators had been dispatched to the scene. The port city of Taganrog, more than 1,100 kilometers south of Moscow, is home to the Berov Aircraft Company, a struggling state-controlled enterprise. Both the Interior Ministry and Berov declined to comment when reached by AFP. It says, but the Kremlin-friendly Ren TV television channel reported earlier this week that radio equipment was taken from the Il-80 plane that was undergoing maintenance at Taganrog. So what was this, and how important was it? Honestly, I don't know if they have two. I don't know if they're like the United States and have a decoy. Maybe this is their only doomsday plane. I don't know. I'm sure they have multiple, but again, this sounds pretty fishy. Why would any group, go into this thing and steal? If you were just regular thieves, you would know what that plane is, and I guess they would think, oh, there's probably something worth money on there, maybe. But that's... that you also probably know that that's the president's kind of personal ship there. And not too many would go directly against Putin. Just saying. What do you guys think, though? I'd love to hear your opinion on this. What do you think Putin would do if he caught thieves stealing this equipment. Do you think this was just some poor people that were desperate and saying, oh, maybe I can sell some stuff? Or do you think that this was either another government, their own government, somebody in their shoes trying to do something? It seems really, really fishy, especially with the timing. Gone Girl says, hello, Fugle. Hello from the Woods, Fugle fam, Dex, Marf, and Mods. Thank you so much for showing up, even though you were out in the boonies. Thank you, Gone Girls 777. And then we've got Eat More Gina. We have, thank you, Adam, from East Coast. Nana Deborah, Johnson, Robin Bird, Scooby-Doo Do-Right, Renegade PD, Toadman. Thank you for being here tonight. God bless you, Google fam. I guess that's typo there. Thanks, Marf and Dex, says Kimberly Clemens. D Frustrated, thank you so much for being here tonight. Co-Mom, TBT 808, Jaybird, thank you for the lemons over there. Muscle Whisperer and Menno Och. We've got Keith Dyke from Canada. Thank you so much for your support. That really means a lot. And welcome to the Fugle fam. Of course, we try to talk about the entire world here, not just the USA. Ilea says, did you watch the SpaceX Starship SN8 crash land and explode today? It was crazy. I believe we actually have that in the show tonight, but if we did not add it, it was going to be a part of tomorrow's show. Yes, pretty crazy footage there. And then we have Jesse Pinkman. I don't know if that was an accident to do two of those, but that is huge. And normally you would write a sentence. Make sure if you do, you can actually click something if that was an accident to do two of those. Either way, even if you just did one or accidentally did one, that's a huge support there. A $50 super chat. Thank you so much, Jesse Pinkman. And very much appreciate the support. And we don't mind, too, if either one of those or both of those was an accident. Just make sure you can click on that dots and you can take that back. Bill I. Breckenridge, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And Jesse, thanks for supporting Independent either way. If you want to change those to $1, totally fine and not offended. Bill I. Breckenridge, thank you so much. E-Chop, thank you so much for subscribing. Welcome to the Fugle fam. Lovely to have you guys here today, and lovely to have some new folks. So E-Hop 1007, make sure to welcome to the Fugle fam. Laura Henderson, thank you for subscribing. Also, welcome to the fam. All right. What do you guys think about this? Honestly, I think something important was on there. This, they always say that it was being worked on. My personal opinion is I feel like we are about to see some things pop off. That is not to, freak anybody out, but I mean, there's only so much obvious things that we can put together here, and I will show you some of that here in just a minute. Again, that's something I really do think is it's pretty hard to miss. Okay, and then we says, hello, Marv. It says Fooly 5. Johnny Doom is here tonight. Kiwi Cat. Dirty Skies California. We've got iHuman. Gigi Loves Jesus. Ruben Piccolo. Deanna Valley. Agent K. What's going on? Tony Canaris. Hey, how are you? Haven't seen you in a couple days. Sassy X, let's see here. Casual Preparedness, thank you for your lovely comments on other channels there and on my video shout out there. Sassy Lats, Sean S, let's see here. Gem WV Prepared Mind, hopefully J Stone's up in the house. We've got XMXM, Sandra Parker, Whitney Sundahl, we've got Caffeinated Phil, and Hondi 99. Thank you guys all for being here. It looks like we have both sides, people agreeing and disagreeing at the same time. They think that maybe it was just citizens there. Heard some military planes today. Liv Ness's Grissom. We're going to talk about that. There is mucho chatter, and again, some of that is not confirmed. And if we don't have something confirmed, we try to make sure that we clarify that it is not. A lot of folks on Twitter, and I believe it got to a point where it was on the top 20 trending, talking about military jets fueling up and getting ready. I know that Hal Turner and others are actually covering this kind of stuff. So again, a lot of folks are talking about that. I did hear last night and the night before that there was something planned for today. Of course, we do have kind of a massive solar flare heading towards us and possibly already hitting us over the next 24 hours. It could be the majority of it could hit tomorrow, I believe, which apparently was moved back which was very weird. Hopefully, Wages World will end up his show and then come over and call. I don't know. But if he does, maybe he can explain it a little better since he does follow that a lot more than we do. And then we've got Treasure Box with first underground samples from an asteroid lands on Earth. So remember, this is from the operation where they went and they took samples of these asteroids and they were sending them back. Now, I want to remind you guys, if you want to call in tonight, the number to call is 224-400-MARF. It is actually on this black line. If you do not have a phone with letters on it, it is 2244-006273. That's, again, 2244-006273. And when you get to our phone tree, you'll press option 4 to get to Dex Live. All right, and now this mission that they did, of course, you guys, most of you know my opinions about meteors and what I think is coming. I think that we are in the wake of something, that something is headed our way. Even if you do not agree with that, that's totally fine. But I will say this. I believe that I'm right either way, even if it wasn't asteroids and if it's something man-made, whatever it is, I believe that they are setting it up so that we kind of know about it. We're also going to be covering this as far as the uptick in meteors and go back to old shows where we also got information about that. We're not trying to pat ourselves on the back. We're just trying to verify our sources and show you that the people that were telling us our stuff were not only spot on, but they were like extremely accurate, even in as far as the numbers. In fact, there was a show almost 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago where I said exactly what was said to me, and that has come 100% true, which is pretty scary in my eye. At the same time, though, we got to be prepared and not scared. It says a small capsule from Japan's Hayabusa 2 spacecraft successfully landed in a sparsely populated desert in the Australian outback on Sunday. After a preliminary inspection, it will be flown to Japan for research. It says the extremely high precision required to carry out this mission thrilled many in Japan, who said that they took pride in its success. The project's manager, Toshi Tusada of the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, called the capsule, quote, a treasure box. It says the AP explains the significance of the project and what comes next. It says launched on December 3rd, 2014, the unmanned Hayabusa 2 spacecraft touched down twice on the asteroid Ryugu, more than 300 kilometers and 190 million miles away from Earth. The asteroid's extremely rocky surface forced the mission's team to revise landing plans, but the spacecraft successfully collected data and soil and rock samples during the 1.5 years it spent near Ryugu after arriving there in June 2018. We actually covered this as it was happening, and it was pretty crazy the day that it got there, or supposedly got there. They even ended up, putting, I think, either explosives or impact. They hit it with something and then collected the rock after it busted off. And then they did all sorts of weird experiments. They put acid on it. They did all sorts of stuff, which also kind of lines up with what I've said before. Are they finding a way to either steer it or dissolve it or slow it down or speed it up with, different things in space? Don't know. It says in its first touchdown in February 2019, the spacecraft collected surface dust samples similar to NASA's recent touch-and-go grab by OSIRIS-REx on the asteroid Bennu. Now, that is two countries both touching asteroids, going onto it, and getting off. What do you think they might be really doing? Now, you've all probably seen the asteroid movie, of course, what was it? Armageddon. And it makes you wonder, are some of the smartest scientists in the world and some of the biggest space agencies, are they actually landing on it and doing that or something near that or something like that? It makes you wonder. These are missions to go attach to an asteroid, collect samples and send the samples back because we're trying to find out the building blocks of life. What is the difference between those and the ones that hit us? I guess, right? Or what is the difference between those and that come in where we can actually snatch them as they go by? I'm sure there's a scientific answer for my question, and I'm sure my question is out of ignorance, but why do they need to land on these asteroids? And is the purpose really to collect samples or bring stuff back? Probably, right? Just saying, is there a side mission there to try to steer it or to try to put these things off or slow them down? And of course, the reason why that would be kept secret is possibly they know something is coming our way. In my mind, I know they know. They say that they have actually identified 95% of NEOs in the universe, right? But they haven't told us if any of those are going to hit and what day they're going to hit. Now, if one of those out of the thousands that's on the website of the NEOs was going to 100% for sure hit, and there was no doubt about it, I guarantee you that thing would be deleted right off of the website. Why? Because if it was sitting there, people would see it. There are people that monitor that all day, every day. And the second they see it, then it's out. Look at what has happened with all of the big telescopes. Look at what's happened with Arecibo, which was actually meant to shape near-Earth objects and things like this. Totally destroyed like 5 times. 6 different things happened to it now. And now it's completely done. It's just totally collapsed. Sunspot Observatory shut down along with 6 others before all of this went down. Something in my mind is up. And that's, again, something that's my opinion and does not have a source there. So it says that they collected this dust samples, asteroid Bennu with the OSIRIS-REx mission, very similar thing. So what are they all doing with these things? What do you think? It says that why an asteroid? It says asteroids orbit the sun but are much smaller than planets. They are among the oldest objects in the solar system and therefore may contain clues on how Earth evolved. Scientists say that it requires studying samples from such celestial objects. It says Ryugu in Japanese means Dragon Palace, the name of a sea bottom castle in Japanese folktale. I think if Joseph Newhouse is there, look into Dragon Palace. Look into the folklore and see what's up with that. Japan's research into asteroids also may contribute to resource development and to finding ways to protect Earth from collisions with big meteorites. So so mainly people talk about this and they go, "Oh yeah, well they're trying to look at history." But it says right there at the very end, finding ways to protect Earth from collisions with big meteorites. So just remember 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, when I said all these missions had a side mission of that, people said that was actually controversial. I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was a whole Twitter debate about 3 years ago, 2 years ago, saying that no, that's a theory, right? That's you know what I mean? And that this had nothing to do with that and everything else. And now it's slowly coming out that it is. And there's proof for you. They are trying to find ways to do something. And it's like little bits of proof are coming out to you. And finally, one thing is do we want vindication for our information? No, because if we are right, that's not good. I don't want to be right on several of these things, and I don't want our sources to be right on several of these things. And remember, I told you Starlink was more than just a internet system, and then that came out a month ago too. It says the sun is awakening with solar storms that could affect Earth. Now, we might actually put most of this back a little bit, but what, to my basic understanding, we have some stuff headed to us. And it says, as soon as Thursday, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the NOAA, is predicting that a solar outburst could generate northern lights or auroras as far as south as Oregon to Pennsylvania. This flare-up coincides with the onset of solar cycle 25, an 11-year window within which storminess on the surface of the sun, peaks, and solar storms become routine. I want you guys to pay attention to this. One, how the government has told everybody to start preparing for either an EMP or a CME. Of course, a coronal mass ejection, because this could knock down our grid. It could knock down satellites. It could knock down all sorts of different things. That's why we have been working with EMP shields for a year. I want you guys to pay attention to what is actually going on. Watch channels like Wages World. Watch channels like BP Earthwatch that are actually covering this and actually covering it very in detail. You won't see this on any of the main news networks. That's what is great about, some of the smaller YouTube news. You have coverage of that. Whereas if you just watch the news, they'll do a little fluff piece and say, oh yeah, on Wednesday night, you might see some pretty colors. That's their coverage? Oh, you'll see some pretty colors. Okay, well, what about the stats? What about the numbers? Can we see some graphs? Like, why do they think we're so stupid that we can't understand what's happening? Well, they don't want us to know. And they don't want us to know that this is one of the biggest threats that we have. And it is why the government has contracted EMP Shield. Again, have to remind you, and we'll try to go more in depth on this, try to remind you guys, you have a chance now, before anything major happens, to try to prepare for something. EMP Shield is not only under contracts, they've worked with DHS, Department of Homeland Security, DOD, and now the DEMSO team officially working for the Texas grid to help protect it. These guys actually make devices for all different things. It protects against all three phases, E1, E2, and E3 of an EMP. So if it comes from, say, an enemy, or solar flare protection up to 228,000 amps. Not only are they made here, because of their government contracts that they got last year, they're expanding and they're bringing all the jobs right here in the USA. And they're veteran owned, and they are 100% American made. 100%. No little tiny parts from somewhere else, if you know what I mean. And then, of course, it also protects your house, your generator, your boat, whichever device you end up choosing. Again, the best combo is your vehicle, your generator, and your home, and possibly your solar. Those will be protected. Again, it's best to do it in a combo. But again, this is something we've told you about for a long time. If you do go through this, you will help us out and get a discount. But I highly recommend, even if you do not go through us, you can go around us, go to a different creator that sells them, a smaller creator if you want to support them. But make sure to get one of these if you are worried about it. Again, this is something that I believe every person in the United States and in the country and in the world should have. If we did, we would not have an issue. They say 90% of us would perish if we have a major blackout in the United States. Same goes with any other country, but you guys don't have as many enemies as we do. Kind of the same, though. marfugalnews.com/EMP. Thank you guys for those who have already gotten them. And again, thank you for anyone who is thinking about it. All right, and then let's go to our first caller. We're going to be hitting the Chinese defense industry reportedly became world's second biggest deal there. We're going to be talking about Ryan moving key facility at nuclear site underground. Okay. Key nuclear facility right after the guy gets taken out the other day by a satellite-controlled machine thing. Now they're moving key site underground. Wonder why. Not good news. We're going to be talking about F-16 belonging to Wisconsin Air. That is going to be talked about. Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, 40 states file an antitrust. We're going to be hitting weeks after this. This platform is going to be cracking down on everything, which we called and we told you, and we warned other creators because we wanted to see them stay on the platform. So we'll talk about that here in a minute. Dex, if we want to get this caller in, let me pop this open. And in fact, you're going to have to introduce them because I don't have the screener up yet.
Okay, Adam, we're getting Slaves to Society on, and you are live on Marfugal News.
Perfect. Slave to Society, what is going on?
What's up, brother? How you been, man?
Hey, good. So it says that you have an Albert Pike video here. Talks about Albert Pike orders and Kumi, we'll call it Kumi, takeover. Kumi is of course, you'll get it in the context. A Kumi takeover, and Yuri Bezmenov, the takeover of the U.S.
Absolutely.
and I'll pull it up.
Absolutely. Well, yes. Well, for some reason, I can't help but to keep going back to that letter about those three, those three world events. Two of them already took place. So, if you look at it, right, with the guy Yuri Bezmenov, what he's talking about, with what was going on in America right now, in the world, it makes perfect sense. All right, this could never get out to the main public, or to even the people that's helping bring about this, because if they found out that there was a global, scheme, the people wouldn't go for it. So everything's compartmentalized. That's why everything's compartmentalized. Everything's compartmentalized. Everything is done so nobody knows where it's coming from, which direction or what. Everybody is basically confused. It's America right now is the land of confusion right now, right? That's what it is. I've never seen, and I'm sure nobody's ever seen America or the world, for that matter, the way they are today. All right. Now, this is not just a plan that goes back 150 years ago. This is a plan that goes back 400 or 500 years ago. All right, if not longer than that. And we're witnessing it right now. Whether or not they're steering this plan to look biblical, right? Or whether it's biblical, it's God doing it too. It goes to say, because these men, especially back in those days, were scholars. They it didn't matter what religion you believed in. You read every religion. You read all the books of religion. And you everything seems to be moving in a biblical time frame, and it's no coincidence, like we said, that what Mr. Albert said, and now we're seeing the fruitations of this. We're seeing the fruitations of this happening right now. George Bush would talk about it all the time, and he would say, what would he say? He would say, there is I'm trying to think of a name, but a whirlwind, right? An angel still guides the whirlwind, still guides this hand, basically, right? And I believe that's true. Yuri Bezmenov, what he's talking about is absolutely 100% happening. And the people that are bringing about it, they don't even realize that when it's all said and done, because they think they're going to be the ones in power, right? They think that when all this is, they're going to be the ones in power. But in all actuality, when it's all said and done, just like my buddy Yuri says, if you watch the video, I don't want to talk about it here, but that's going to happen to them, So it's a big club, and we're not invited, and that's just the way it is, You don't know what's going on. You never know. They always keep you confused with psyops, with stuff that's trivial, that don't mean jack compared to what's really going on in the scheme of the world.
Now, let me ask you this. So what if I was right that something is careening towards Earth, or at least that's what even the upper echelons, like you said, compartmentalization, that's a huge part of everything, right? Because they keep everybody else in the dark. Everybody has a tiny piece, and without 15 other people, even if they meet another person or 2 other people, they still don't have the full puzzle, because they need all 15 people, that the people from the top are appointing these people to do little tiny parts of it. They'll never have one person in charge of all this stuff. They have it all dished out to all these different people. So then they can tell one story to one person, then tell another to another, and say, oh, well, this is for that. Oh, okay, this is for that. Then nobody knows the complete truth. Well, then what if something down the road So they need to get us all into mega cities. They need to get us all into big places. We think that half the planet has been destroyed by asteroids. In fact, I think there was even a Nicolas Cage movie that the predictive programming basically made people think that the West Coast was all nuked out. And then finally in the movie they drive out and there's not actually any nuke or anything. And I thought that's crazy. And now looking back, and I realized it was actually talking. It was Nicolas Cage in this future where it starts out and there's a Predator drone driving along his car and basically saying like, "What are you doing? You're close to the border. You have to turn around." And the whole West Coast in this movie was supposedly all nuked out and radiation. You couldn't go past that point. You would die immediately. Well, they find out when they're running from the bad guys and they drive past it that there is no radiation. There was no accident. But they said there was to get everybody in there.
I think I remember that.
So, but my point is what if even if it's maybe some of these folks are right that none of that is going to happen, but it will happen as far as we know it, as far as the media knows it, and as far as everybody down below will think, oh, we saw it with our own eyes. We saw the video of it. We saw this. But really, we all unite under that.
Happen. I believe a meteor. I believe that will happen just as it says in the Bible.
I mean, it follows the prophecy. I mean, everything is happening other than that is all lining up.
But first, before that, what happens? Mystery Babylon. I didn't hear you. Mystery Babylon. Before that happens, before the rest of the world, I believe that Mystery Babylon will get and if you look at what's coming this year to the East Coast, right, in America, we have the 17-year cycle of the cicadas coming to the East Coast. And isn't it funny that the cicadas, when they come every 17 years, you can't hear, there's no missile defense systems. Our missile defense systems are obsolete when the cicadas are chanting their mating calls. So everything's just, it seems like it's all coming together, you know?
There's definitely so many things that are happening at once. It's hard to grasp. That's why we grab onto the little things and try to put it all in one place and do it every day and archive it so we can look back a year, look back 2 years, look back 3 years and see, you know, how does this play into today? Like the eminent domain grabbing all those night vision goggles and the night vision tubes, the government buying up all of this ammunition way early. I mean, you've got Department of Homeland Security buying up Department DHS buying up 1.6 billion rounds, enough rounds to get you through 20 years in Afghanistan. Why so many? Again, these are all things that are going on, and you know it. A lot of us know it. The people that are watching the show, we're all incredibly. What would you say? We're in tune with this stuff. So you guys, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And there's people that are sleeping and they just want to see everything as it is, and it's not. Go ahead.
No, you hit the hammer right on the head. But yeah, I believe that and there's even prophecies of I forget the guy's name, but it's in my video down there, Mystery Babylon. I think it's like 3 or 4 videos down, or maybe 2. But close to the end of that video, it's like an hour long. I mirrored it from another channel, but he speaks about how in a time in America when we're at civil discord, right? Revolutionaries have popped up in America, right? This is when, right, the bear will rise up on its side, right, and come with its allies, and they'll gather round about her, and they'll shoot their rockets and at all the major cities. And when all the major cities are destroyed, they'll send in to the inner. They'll send in the troops to the inner workings of America. That's what it says in biblical prophecy. And everything seems to be working biblically. Regardless of how you look at it, everything that's transpiring in the world is going down biblically, and we're working on a biblical time scale. So if you want to know what's going to progress in the next couple of years or next couple of months, look no further to Isaiah, to the Jeremiah, to Daniel, Revelations, and even look up Mother Shipton's prophecies. She was a weird lady right there, Mother Shipton. I don't know if you ever heard of her, where it says the women will cut their hair. I mean, we're in those times. Man. And my God, what amazing times we are in.
Well, Slaves to Society, thank you so much for your call tonight. We're also going to link your channel on our website, marfugelnews.com. You'll be able to access Slaves to Society. Is there one more thing you want to say before you go? And then another point, too. I just want to let you know the video that you did 4 or 5 videos ago, I would recommend looking at YouTube's new terms of service that they just put out today. It's going to affect pretty much every channel like ours. So make sure to check that out.
No.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's coming, buddy. I just want to say, man, I thank everybody, man. I hope everybody. Right. I just want to, thank you for letting me speak real fast on the platform, Marv. And I pray everybody heeds the messages and what's about to happen. Tell your friends. And I don't think we can steer this thing around. The only thing I think we can do is feather the fall a little bit, So.
Well, thank you so much. The Slaves to Society. It was a pleasure having you on the show. Again, you guys can get to his website via ours, marfugelnews.com, or you can type in Slaves to space Society. It looks like about 300 already have gone over there, or maybe that's 30. I don't actually know. That's about 30. So thank you guys for heading over and supporting anybody in the Fugel fam. We have Jesse Pinkman again with another support. So obviously that was not an accident. I guess that's making that clear. You can always write a message or write a quote or anything there. Jesse Pinkman, thank you for supporting Independent in a massive, massive way. It is much appreciated. Dex and I both appreciate it. Thank you, especially during holiday season. It's definitely gets rough, especially with them taking all of our subs. So thank you. Jakester A, what's up with the Geostorm going on tonight through the 11th? Could it be legit, or is it another distraction? Jakester, I don't think it's another distraction. Distractions they put out there, nice and big. This they don't really talk about. They'll mention it. They'll say that there's pretty colors in the sky, but they won't talk about the consequences of it. We could lose, platforms or internet or cell phone service temporarily. We could lose it forever if we get a big one. They say that we are due for a giant solar flare. About every 100 years, we get a massive one. The Carrington event happened over 100 years ago. So we are overdue right now for a massive event that we're not ready for. According to DHS and their EMP resilience report and the task force, they say that we are not ready. And if it does happen, we could go 9 months to 9 months to 24 months without power, depending on how bad it hits. Because we don't even make the transformers here. Now, other folks, I want to say it was Arizona. We've had people send in videos. Just in Arizona, I think, sent in videos. They are trying, it looks like they are putting replacement transformers in some of these huge power areas, and they're just sitting there off to the side. And they're sitting there off to the side because if the main ones go, if something big happens, they would already have a replacement there. So I do think that they are trying to prepare for this. And of course, T-Man signed an order, I believe 2018 or early 2019. I know that they signed an order, that emergency order, to harden our grid because we were so badly unprepared for it. So remember that. We're going to get more into it again. We're not done with that. Adam Kuhn, thank you so much for your support and appreciate that. Shane Reed says, you guys lead the industry as disciples of good. I'm happy for you both. Shane, thank you. And Shane, thanks for your massive support tonight and even the last week. That really stuck out. So thank you. Gene Gorn Shelley says, hey, Marv, don't forget EMP protection for your coded car keys and fobs. One thing, though, actually, no. Well, I don't know. From my knowledge, some of the newer cars, you have to look. Some of the newer cars might be okay. The cards will be okay, but you're right. The car keys, I don't know about that. That's actually something that I have never heard anybody say. So definitely want to talk to Andrew about that. Doc Bill says, former Israeli space security chief says extraterrestrials exist and T-Man knows about it. Doc Bill, we covered that 2 nights ago and last night as well. If you missed that show, make sure to go check it out. We actually talked about that at length and got everybody's opinion on it. I think that with that and, Elon Musk saying what he's saying and all these other folks coming out, it's like a joke to them. I don't know what is going on. Billifications 2009 says, God's best to Adam and Dex. Love the show. Hey, Billifications, thank you. Really appreciate you guys. By the way, if you're over on YouTube or even if you're not, make sure to comment after the show. Even if you can, if you're cleaning the house tomorrow or something, go back to this video and comment and say hello, say your favorite color, say whatever it is. It is now helping to do that. So please remember to do that. If that's your one support of the show, leave a comment, just say hi, say Merry Christmas, whatever you want to say. Bonnie B Squared says, Reno, Nevada, cold out. Sun feels like being under a magnifying glass. So it's cold out, but the sun feels like being under a magnifying glass. There's so much weird weather out there. Just can't believe it. Dog Bill says, watched Greenland, no other than any other disaster movie. Watched Greenland, no other than any other disaster movie. Doc Bill, pay attention to that presidential alert that they did in that watch in Greenland. That presidential alert is something that I think that's a real big key there. Of course, they tested that in 2018 after Sunspot Observatory shut down, and they started Ryugu, Hayabusa, all of this stuff. They started the Space Force after that. Just saying, there's something massive going on, and I think the last caller was right. Compartmentalize. Dusty Digger says, you make me feel like dancing. I don't know what that was, but thank you. Nicole Nunya Beeswax says, if my husband is watching, I painted clear nail polish all over the bar of shower soap while you were gone. I love you. Nicole Nunya Beeswax. If your husband is watching, I hope he watches over his shoulder. Dusty Digger, and he doesn't drop the soap. Hello, Fugel fam. I saw the meteor over Syracuse on December 2nd. Eyes peeled for Northern Lights tonight. Stay safe, my friends. Dusty Digger, totally right. Nelda Matheson, thank you so much from Australia. I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys watching from all the way over there. And Laura Henderson, welcome to the fam again. Thomas C. Bryan, thank you and welcome to the fam. It's make sure to welcome these folks as I call them out. Thomas C. Bryan is new to the Fugel fam. And then we've got Pink Flamingo supporting as well. Lola Cafe, thank you. I appreciate your support more than you know. Thank you for being here for a long time now. Cheeky B, thank you from Canada. Whoa. Match and Jesse Pinkman, that is huge. Cheeky B, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for supporting us through this. All right, and then moving on, Chinese defense industry reportedly became world's second largest in 2019. This is exactly what I've said. And now they're teamed up with half of our government, and it's pretty damn simple that they are trying to take over. And I don't see how all these people aren't seeing it. Now they have the largest military, or I'm sorry, the largest navy. I won't say the largest military, the largest navy in the world by 70 ships. And guess what? In 2017, did they have the largest navy? No. So in just 3 short years, they went from not having the largest navy to having it close to 100 ships more than the U.S. Absolutely unbelievable. So for 8 years, well, we were, for some reason, saying, no, it's peace on earth. We should just reduce military. We don't need any more conflicts. Let's reduce our stuff. Scrap it. Oh, aircraft carriers, get rid of it. Pfft, who needs that big hunk of junk? Idiot. Even the limited amount of available data suggests that Chinese military companies' share on the global arms market is second only to that of American rivals. It says 4 Chinese defense industry companies have made it on their list of the 25 largest military equipment producers, with a combined $56.7 billion in sales in 2019, according to new analysis by Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, or SIPRI. This placed China second in terms of manufacturing and selling armaments, although the analysis appeared to ignore several major Chinese companies working in the field of shipbuilding and missile manufacturing due to inaccessibility of records on their performance. So basically saying they're hiding their performance on their shipbuilding, which is probably why we didn't see it until it happened. Oh, you've got the largest navy in the world. That's why they formed the China Task Force, but of course without the help of one side of the party. Kind of weird stuff, right? You can probably take a guess at what side of the party doesn't have any part in the task force that's letting us know about all the scary facts and things that are happening right now as we speak. At the same time, SIPRI's analysis of available data suggests that the Chinese arms market grew slower than the rest of the industry. On average, the aforementioned Chinese defense companies increased their revenue by about 4.8% over the last year. What do you guys think about this? Do you think that China is coming up on us? And do you think that they are slowly taking over, or do you think they are already taking over from the inside out? I really wonder what you guys think on that. And then I Speak English just subscribed. Actually, we got a bunch of new subscribers just now. Super thank you. Nash Torres, thank you. Welcome, Nash Torres. Welcome, Sergeant Bun Bun. Awesome name. Denise Wyatt, thank you, and welcome, Denise. Janie Brennand, David Swingle, Jessica De Los Santos, thank you so much. And I Speak English. I love it. Thank you guys all for joining me. Let's see here. So maybe Wages World was shouting us out or something. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe he's gonna come over and hopefully he'll get in and reach us. Okay, so first off, this is just something weird is going on. That's my thought on this. I'd love to see yours. I'm gonna head over to the main chat with everybody in it. I really am thinking that there's some weird stuff here. Kelly2334 and Priscilla R, thank you guys for the Ninja Guineas. Merry Christmas, spread the happiness. From what I read, this is not going to be a bad storm, but who really knows? Priscilla R, that's again why I wanted somebody with a lot of information on it. I hope not. This, and by the way, this I don't think is the big one, but what I do want to remind you is that one is coming, and it's coming hard. When it does come, I don't think anybody's going to be prepared for it. Rai Yan, and I say that specifically like that for a reason, is moving key facility at nuclear site underground, satellite images show. It says a mysterious July explosion that destroyed a centrifuge assembly at Iran's main nuclear fuel enrichment facility in Natanz was deemed by the authorities to be enemy sabotage. So they called that. It says, and provoked a defiant response. The wrecked building would be rebuilt, quote, in the heart of the mountains. And it says the head of Iran's Atomic Energy Organization said, Progress on that pledge, which could shield the facility from an aerial assault or other threats, has been unclear to outside observers. But new satellite imagery is now shedding light on the plans of these guys. It says the visual investigation team of the New York Times has tracked construction at the site using the new imagery. For the first time, new tunnel entrances for underground construction are visible under a ridge in the mountain foothills south of the Natanz facility, about 140 miles south of Tehran. And yes, I say some stuff, I'm not actually special in any way. Well, arguably, okay, jury's out on that. But I'm actually saying it because the algorithm gods pick up on stuff. Times worked with Jeffrey Lewis, an arms control expert at the Middlebury Institute of International Studies in Monterey in California, to interpret the new image. It says the new facility is likely to be far more secure location for centrifuge assembly. That's a big deal. It says it is located far from a road and the ridge, other significant overburden that would protect the facility from air attacks. So they are putting this in there, and they're going full bore with this. It says the July explosion was not the only recent incident that appeared to have exposed major gaps in their security of its nuclear program, which the country insists is limited to peaceful purposes. I don't think none of the countries that have this are all peaceful. They are all trying to get this. Of course, it is a huge power play to have it, as far as, every country that has it. Of course, tries to do all sorts of stuff with it. There's plenty of things that can be done with nuclear power. Isn't that right? Gone Girl 777, thank you so much. Legendary Fugel fam. Idlin70, thank you. Toadman, Dixie Doe, Tower Bear, thanks for gifting out subs. DP Texas, thank you so much for being here tonight to be able to grab that. Biblical Smashdown, again, it looks like the Tower Bear is just gifting crazy over there, so thank you. And then Kimberly Clemens, the presidential alert in Greenland only went to select people. Kimberly Clemens, absolutely right. If you don't remember, October 3rd on 2018, we had our presidential alert test. And remember, not everybody got it. In fact, my wife got it. I did not get it. My aunt got it, but my uncle did not. Both of my other aunt and uncle did get it, both at the same time. And people thought, oh, well, it was just faulty. It didn't work like they thought it was going to. Remember, that was supposed to happen to every phone, including prepaid phones. One thing that was said is that was what was called upstream surveillance. Show you an example. So when the presidential alert goes off and it goes beep, 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 it goes presidential alert, and it sounds like an Amber Alert. It sounds like everything. The only way that you're going to find that little tiny OK in the middle to acknowledge that you see it, you are going to have to look, and you are going to have to click. Every single phone now has a front camera, whether it be cheapo or even most of the even older flip phones have a front-facing camera. When you press that, click, takes a picture, facial recognition, got it. Or you actually have to unlock or do the fingerprint in that same spot. When that happens, the reason why I believed it was upstream surveillance is because we got information before this. And if you don't remember, the day before, this is again the day before October 3rd, I said that this was upstream surveillance, that they were locating certain people and they were getting to certain people's phones, that they could actually deliver something through that same system. They could even put a seed. They could have picked who they are going to save during that day. They could have done the lottery that they did in Greenland. They could have done that on October 3rd when they found out about the threat. They could have actually sent that, and if you got that alert, then you're going to be picked for this Noah's Ark thing. But remember, I did that on October 2nd. Right when it aired on October 3rd, that is one of my biggest videos to date. It has over 1 million views. And the next day, Edward Snowden and Norton Antivirus, or what's his face? I'm trying to think of what's his face. Not Norton. McAfee, John McAfee, who's eccentric, yes, both of them put out tweets not only saying that what I said was true, but confirming that they said that this is exactly what that was. So I got information. I was the first to put it out, and I even mentioned Edward Snowden. I said, this is the information, and then Edward Snowden confirmed my video directly. So, again, same group of sources that 13 months ago let us know about everything else. You guys, I hope everybody's on board by now. Scooby Snacks 69. I'm just wondering, that presidential alert, I think it will play a bigger part in the future. We'll see. Mo Man, thank you so much for your support. Rebel Snarful, Scooby Snack 69, Gone Girl, 777, Eat More Gina. China must be at the front of our minds. I believe you are right, or at least I think so. Fugel Fan, thank you for gifting out subs over on the channel. What do you guys think about all of this? It's pretty crazy stuff. F-16 belonging to Wisconsin Air National Guard crashes in Michigan. I always look at these with kind of a, half closed eye like this. Huh? What's going on here? This is another one. California had one that was... I always wonder if something, hit it from space or something was tested or whatever. Of course, it could be just a normal accidental crash. A Block 30 F-16 Viper belonging to Wisconsin Air National Guard's 115th Fighter Wing crashed at about 8 p.m. local time on December 8, 2020. The aircraft went down on Michigan's Upper Peninsula. A release from the 115th Fighter Wing reads in part, quote, "At the time of the incident, the aircraft was on a routine training mission with one pilot on board. Emergency responders are on scene. The cause of the crash, as well as the status of the pilot, are unknown at this time, and the incident is under investigation." So it crashed and they don't know what happened yet. It says the crash occurred north of the UP's Garden Peninsula near the border of Delta and Schoolcraft counties in the Hiawatha National Forest. It says that U.S. Forest Service workers joined with local authorities to set up a perimeter and begin to search late Tuesday. What if that wasn't a plane? What if they said a jet crashed and that's actually something else that crashed down? Did anybody see it in person? Did anybody see the jet crash? If a jet crashes in the woods, do you hear it? Does it make a sound? Was it a meteor that's part of their program where they're actually trying to get meteors to hit to mine them? I don't know. I just think they could say, "Oh, it's a jet" or whatever else, just in case anybody saw something crash down. But do we really know? Why don't they mention the person who passed away? Or did he even pass away? Did he eject? In fact, it doesn't say anything about the pilot. Isn't that kind of weird? I don't know. Dex, what do you think as far as the status of the pilot? They didn't mention it, and they say that they don't have a status on it.
Hey, Adam. Yeah, I certainly think that's an interesting thing. We'll have to watch. I mean, I imagine the story, since it's sort of new, we'll watch how it evolves over the coming 24 hours. But to not have, usually when you hear that, you hear about the pilot ejecting, and you hear people reporting that they saw that or they saw that type of event. And, not typical for somebody that is flying a jet like that to try to, if they have to crash it, if they have any control over it, to put it someplace down that it's not going to hurt other people. But would love to know what the status is of the pilot, and I, praying that the pilot's okay.
You think if it was just completely, it was a training mission and it went wrong or whatever, you'd think that would be right out there, that they would go, oh, well, we called the office. They said pilot ejected. It's all good. It was training, new pilot. He made a mistake, crashed $1 million jet, whatever, but it didn't. Either way, if you guys want to support us in a different way, right now there are more cyber offenders right now than ever before, because everyone is at home. Everyone is actually working from home. Everybody is stuck in lockdowns. So people are on their computers, on their cell phones, and on Wi-Fi. Again, Nord Virtual Private Network, NordVPN, is one of the best out there. And what it does is it hides your IP address, but it also stops from data logging. No data logging with Nord. And then, of course, it can work on 6 simultaneous connections. So 6 devices. You can have your phone, your kid's phone, your laptop, your home computer, your kid's computer, all on the same account. So one account covers 6 devices. And then again, if you're using public Wi-Fi in a Starbucks or in a Barnes & Noble, you should have this on your computer, your device, your phone, all of it. If you use this, not only will you get up to a 70% discount on a 3-year plan, but you will also be helping support the channel. So if you have not gotten Nord already, you should. If you've been waiting, definitely a good time to do it, especially with all you've put into, creating or keeping your credit. Don't want to give it up to a cyber offender. marfugalnews.com/VPN. Thank you, guys. And then now we're going to get into our next caller. Then we're going to be talking about the FTC.
Adam, did you catch the jet earlier from DLive?
No, I did not. And I believe that's number 15 in history on DLive. Hold on. I can't even see it. It scrolled past.
Okay, so it's stormy weather, and her message was, "Remember the storm. God is always with you. ML, much love."
Stormy weather. You are part of 15 people that have ever done that on DLive. It is the highest compliment on DLive, and we appreciate it. Again, we don't normally have weeks like this. We have had a good week this week, so we do appreciate everybody in the community. Again, it's not necessary, but it is incredibly appreciated. And for you to support us on that level, that is really incredible. Thank you. You will have a special spot. Dex has kept track of all 15 VIP jet givers. And then also there's some that we are actually going to add from YouTube as well. People like Susan Donahue have supported also so much, whether it's $1 or $20, whatever, they always try to show up to every single show. So there are some people that have really gone above and beyond and helped us grow this from the very beginning. People that have been here for 3 years since I was talking to nobody. People that were here when I was talking to 10 people. I mean, I would literally talk to nobody. I did this just like anybody else. It was crazy. I would talk in my car or on my break. So it's really amazing to come this far and have people like you support us in that way. It's again, just like supporting any show that you like. We appreciate you supporting ours because that could go somewhere else. Your attention could be somewhere else. You are giving us your attention, and that does mean a lot. Thank you. Stormy weather, you are number 15. The FTC, over 40 U.S. states file antitrust lawsuits against Facebook. It says tech giant Facebook has faced an increasing amount of scrutiny around its handling of user data and competition practices since 2017, with matters intensifying even further when it came under fire by the U.S. Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, last year on antitrust grounds. The FTC and the coalition of attorneys generals representing 46 states, the District of Columbia, and Guam filed twin lawsuits on Wednesday against Facebook, alleging that the social media company has engaged in anti-competitive practices. No way. It says New York Attorney General Letitia James, who is leading the coalition, said during a news conference announcing the move that any efforts to stifle competition hurt small businesses, reduce innovation and creativity, cut privacy protections, will be met with full forces of our offices. For nearly a decade, Facebook has used its dominance and monopoly power to crush smaller rivals and snuff out competition, all of the expense of everyday users. So we know this is true, and not only that, we know that they actually track us here, Snapchat, wherever you are, if it's on Chrome or somewhere else. That, of course, is a fact now that we know about some of the stuff that was talked about at the Congress about a week and a half ago. So if you haven't seen that, make sure to go check out that Zuck interview with Cruz or the other senator. Ow, absolutely shocking stuff. Okay, Dex, let's get this caller on, and it looks like we have a very special one here. Let's see here. Wages World. Oh, we've got Wages World.
Hello?
Wages World, what is
Hello.
going on?
How you doing, Adam? How you doing, man?
Good. So obviously
Hello?
there's some
Doing
big news in your area, what you study. So can you explain what's going on?
Yeah, sure thing. Yeah, we've got some incoming solar weather. We had a C-class flare that had a CME that was accompanying it just behind it, probably about an hour or two after the flare blew. But it's a big one. It caused a full halo CME that was directed right at us. So it's significant. It's probably the biggest one we've seen in a few years. That's going to hit us.
Because you follow this,
So-
you follow this all the time. Is this something that how in significance is it really truly the biggest one we've seen in years, or is it just the biggest that we've seen that's actually hit us or pointed at us?
The latter, what you said there. But the thing I would say there is that we really don't know sometimes when it's not pointed at us how strong they are, especially the ones that are on the backside, because we don't have no detectors back there. We don't have any data collection. So we just got to go off of visual and what we can see from like stereo A. That's kind of giving us a side view. Now we are getting some more data collection with like the Parker SP probe and a couple other satellites they've sent out there, but those are just now getting kind of operational and starting to build some sort of a historic data collection.
Now,
So
Now, did you say that this was a Class C? There's three categories. There's X class, there's M class, and then there's C class. Can you explain those three, or do you know?
Yeah, I can run. That's actually fairly easy to do, fairly quick. Actually, there's 5 classes. It starts with A, B, and C, A, B, C, M, X, and X. That's what they go off of. And essentially, I guess the first thing I would say is we can't confuse a flare with a CME, because a lot of people do that. It's not the same thing. Now, a lot of times you get 2 of them, like when you get a bigger flare like we had, it causes a CME behind it, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. So the initial flare, even though it's a C class, it was a higher C class, but it wasn't. The CME behind it is actually more of a problem. That's kind of what we're looking at right now. But as far as the classes go, it's based off of X-ray level. And that's how they map these things out. In a C class, we see those are actually fairly common, and we don't, it's fairly common to those of us that have been looking at this for like 10 years. People that are just now getting into this probably haven't seen too many C class flares because we were in a solar minimum. When that's happening, there are no sunspots at all on the sun, pretty much. We set a space age record in 2019. We were at 77% of the days throughout the year that had no sunspots facing us. That was a record. So, but the following year, which is this year, we have had a tremendous increase in the percentage even. If you go back and compare the last the same 2 years in the previous solar cycle, you're going to see that it was only a 2% increase from the deepest part of the minimum to the next year. It was 73% to 71%. Right now, as we sit, if the year was to end today, there is a 17% increase. And that is significant because our magnetic shields in our magnetic field is 20 to 25% weaker than what it was. So it doesn't take as much of a flare or a CME to really give us some issues. Now, this one is getting ready to hit us. There was a solar wind stream, and this is what's made this one kind of difficult. There was a solar wind stream that was headed our way anyway. This is days before the CME ever even happened. The charts and the graphs were showing it to be upwards of 50/50 on the density part of it, which a normal density would be 4, normal conditions. So a 50 is very, very elevated. We haven't seen that number actually on the Enlil models, I know, for 2 years. So that's very significant. And that was just the solar wind stream from a coronal hole. Then we had the CME right behind it, and that happened. So what we're looking at right now, we were actually, the predictions came out, a couple days ago when this happened, and we should have already been into storm level and been seeing this stuff like 12 hours ago. But it's moving slower than what they thought.
Now,
the prediction models were wrong.
Could we see this affect any kind of services or internet or power or anything like that?
Yes, I would have to say on something like this, what we're getting ready to experience, because actually right before I called, I checked the where we were at, and we had moved from a 2 on the KP to a 4 within the last 3 hours, and a 4 would be very active, and that's one number under storm level. So the next one that comes out, unless there's a good chance we could already be in storm level. But to answer your communication question there, yes, that would probably be, for me, that's probably the biggest thing that would happen with something like this right now. At this point, yes, we could see.
Can you just make sure everybody knows what you mean by storm, like a solar storm? Is that? Can you just
okay? I can explain that real quick. Yeah. It's a geomagnetic storm, and and I'm glad you asked that, because that is important to know. Like I said, at the beginning of the call, the solar flare and a geomagnetic storm is different. A geomagnetic storm comes with the CME. That's charged particles that travel from the sun to us. And that's all done through magnetics, our magnetic connection line between the sun and the earth. Those particles stay on that line, and that's how they get here. And that's true with the solar wind also. But a flare is X-ray. So the initial blast from a flare, we get no warning for. It's here and gone in 8 minutes. That's just as simple. It's like taking an X-ray, like you go to the hospital. But the storm level stuff is caused from those charged particles. And when it hits our magnetics, it hits our shields. It depending on how fast it is, how dense it is, that's what will push us up into stronger stuff. Obviously, the faster and the more dense it is, the more that it's going to affect us. This one, this was significant. And once we get those charged particles hanging around, if you get a CME behind it, all it does is intensify everything. So that's kind of what we're looking at with that. And people want to know what a charged particle is. It's plasma. It's, that's what plasma is. It's charged gas. That's the only difference. The only difference between gas and plasma is it's charged. That's why it follows like the electrical properties and magnetic properties. So that's why we can manipulate it like we do, but it's also what the sun sends at us, and that's why it affects us so drastically when we get hit with these big ones. And this is a big CME. Like I said, the CME part is really the problem. It's not the flare part of it. The flare actually, when it blew off, sometimes we get a radiation storm with that. And that didn't really happen. Radiation storms, astronauts get kind of freaked out over that, obviously, because they're out in space with no, magnetic field to protect them. So that can make them sick. It can do all kinds of crazy stuff. But, for us here on the surface, it would take an extremely big flare to really give us some problems, like health-wise for us. Now, you were talking about like the Carrington event earlier. I would like, I really want people to know that is not the only event. We had one in 2012 that would have stuck us in the Stone Ages. That happened. It missed Earth by 9 days. and that doesn't get talked about a lot. And it should. That should really wake people up when they hear that, because it hit the detectors. It came in at an X28, and that's what the Carrington event came in at. But it overwhelmed the detectors, and after they had analyzed it even more, it came in at an X45. So that's how close we came. You know, if that had fired 9 days later, we wouldn't be talking right now. It's really that simple.
And again, X is the worst. Yeah, being that, you know, X class is these are big, massive, just boom, and that would have put us in the medieval ages. Yes.
If you pulled up Space Weather Prediction Center, I'm sure you've probably been there a lot. I would imagine you've probably been there a few times. The NOAA site.
Yeah.
If you look at the top there, you'll see the flare classes right there at the top on the left hand side. And what it does is what you will be looking at there again is it'll show you A, B, C, M, and X. They keep them like a C1 through 10, an X1 through 10. The only time they go over that is when they absolutely have to, and that's where it falls at. They don't really have a name past an X, so the number just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But it's very significant what we're dealing with now because of everything that was around it and the fact that our magnetic field is weaker. There's really not a whole, when all that's coming in at once, that can really give us some issues. And if you look at the prediction center there, just to the right of that, how can I put the right of the graphs, they actually tell you, they give you a time frame. Yeah, you're scrolling there right there. You see the G3 right there at the top?
Yeah, so it's...
I'm not sure if you can see that orange box or not.
Yeah, it says...
that orange box, that's their prediction. They're saying that, not me. Okay, so, but if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see on that data, it's text. It's texting data right there. Underneath, there's actually a time frame. It'll tell you what kind of range they think we're going to be in by time. But I would say, like I said before, you're on the wrong one, but it's okay. It's no big deal. They map it out by time. Now, if we'd have looked at this yesterday, this was 24 hours different. They literally moved everything back a day. And that's why I've cautioned so many people from setting dates on this, because they're so unpredictable. We don't know until this stuff hits our detectors, and that doesn't happen until days later, not the main ones. So that's why it's so important for us to really stay vigilant with this and look at it and keep an eye on it. Because there were a few channels, because you try to figure out what part of the earth is going to be facing the sun when the brunt of it hits, because that will take the hardest hit. Now, it will still blanket around the earth, and the whole earth's going to be affected by it. But the big initial blast, like what happened back in 1859, where the telegraph operators were getting shocked, stuff was catching on fire, all that kind of stuff. That happened on the day side.
Well, and
most of that.
And real quick, I just want to pause. Jonathan Nunn, I did see your message. I'm going to read that here in a second. But you do have a question from Liz Gaspari. Says, okay, geomagnetic storm. Wow. So what should we expect? That was a question.
Okay.
Looks like it's directed towards you.
That's a good question. It really is. There is actually, if you were to go back on my last live stream there, I've been showing it for the last 3 days I've shown it. You can Google search it, and you'll get different things. But what I showed was the conditions you can expect for each level of storm. And, it really doesn't start getting bad or any kind of thing really, really significant till you get to a G3. So that's when it really starts to become an issue sometimes. Now, the cool thing that we see is aurora. That's a very, very big indicator of how strong a solar storm is. of any sort. The further they come down closer to the equator, the stronger it has been. For an example, you would see on the Carrington event, they seen aurora at the equator. It was in the Caribbean. That's how big that was. That's very, very significant. You know, a typical aurora, yeah, you're looking at that right there. Yeah, that's a good graph to look at. And what you're looking at, that, you know, when you click on that, what you see at the end of that time lapse, that's the actual current real-time last capture. So you can see where, if you roll that around, you'll see the termination line of day to night. And obviously it's on the night side where we see them. But you can actually pinpoint where the most of the energy is coming in at by finding the thickest part of that and just drawing a straight line.
Whoa.
Because it's usually about directly facing the sun.
Whoa, look at that. It's getting big.
And there's a reason it comes in on the poles, because it's just where it comes in at easier. So, yeah, it is definitely something that the aurora photographers are going to have a great couple days. I would look for some really, really cool auroras happening. I would look for them to get down into Oregon. It could get into Colorado if it's strong enough. We've seen that before.
Let me ask you this: in Washington,
when they get down,
will I have a chance to be able to see this myself?
Absolutely.
Wow, incredible.
Yeah. Oregon's further south than you, brother.
Well, I know, but you never know. I don't know how these things work like you do. So.
Well, what happens is, when they come in, that's what they do. The further,
maybe darker
there. You would have to be somewhere where it's out. You wouldn't want city lights around by no means. That's, obviously where you live and stuff like that would have to come into play there a little bit. But what happens is it comes in through the poles the easiest. So when it does come down through there, it's traveling through our atmosphere. So it just kind of, it can only make it down so far before it doesn't react with the oxygen atoms enough to actually cause that green reaction. So that's what you see when you see aurora. It's the actual charged particles smacking into the oxygen molecules, and it's that reaction. It's the reaction going back to a stable, more neutral atom, not atom, but an atom, but oxygen atom. It's that oxygen atom trying to get back to normal. Well, that's what you see.
Well, wages.
And if it gets down, if you see like pink or red, that means it's actually getting down further in our atmosphere, because that means it's getting down into the nitrogen atoms, and those are closer to the surface. So that's another indication where we can see.
Now, Wages, we're gonna attach your information, your channel, and then do you have a website now? I didn't know if you ended up getting one yet, or
no, I don't have a website. No, I just I come on there, and here lately I've been kind of I struggle with some of the stuff that I put out because it's pretty negative, Adam. You know what I'm saying? And I try to find a good positive outlet. And actually, I found Mark Pyre's Real Talk show, and I've been going over there just cracking up, dude. It's funny. I would love for everybody to go check him out.
So I heard you were doing some you were doing some sketch comedy last night, I think. Is that right? You were Judy?
Yes, I actually I was Aunt Judy, man. I would love for everybody to go over and check that out. I put makeup on and everything. I had a stinking 4th of July hat on, cowboy hat, and a do-rag, like a turby twist that women put on their hair. And my Aunt Judy has a thyroid problem because I got a low voice and a beard. So.
And again, this was
we have a good time, man.
They were doing sketch comedy about Biden's great aunt Judy, and of course Mark Pyres does imitations of T-Man. He does imitations of a lot of different people. He runs a call-in show. He is a talented musician as well. He has been doing his show for 710 days in a row. So awesome. Well, hey, thank you, Wages, for coming on.
It's amazing, Adam. I have to.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. It's just amazing for me because I can't tell everybody enough how much I needed that because, and I say this because it's the truth. When the first time I went over there, because Scott had, at Planet X News pointed me over that direction, and I went over, just checked it out. You know how sometimes we get referred over and sometimes we're like, well, we'll go check it out next week or whatever. The first 5 minutes I had belly laughed, and the first time in like 2 years. I mean, it literally had me laughing that hard. And I think that, we missed that, even yourself, what we do, and report to people, it's negative. It's hard to put a positive spin on some of this stuff. And I know you kind of probably experienced this too, but it's hard on us that are looking at this stuff constantly.
It gets depressing.
It gets in my head. I don't know about you. You know what I mean? And I needed that release, and that really did provided that for me. And now, me and Mark are really good friends now, and I can't tell you how grateful I am for that. And it's allowed me, because I was ready to shut my channel down. I was just getting that negative, and now I'm lit back up. I'm motivated. And it was because of that.
Well,
so, anytime I can spread that positivity, man, that's what I do. And I try to share that with others.
Well, Wages,
So,
yeah. you're always welcome here as well. And Wages, I believe I helped you when you were very small, but you've done all the rest. Isn't that right? You were Blue Kool-Aid, and you were a tiny creator.
I have to tell you, man.
When I first met you, right?
You helped me more than, yeah. You and Scott is what built my channel at the beginning. It just was. Scott gave me a lot of the advice and helped me out a lot, knowing what I was looking at, and became my really good friend. And at that point, we were just pushing each other. And I have to include you in on that too, because, we talked quite a few times on air and things like that. But we always were like, hey, go check out Mark's channel, go check out Blue Kool-Aid, you were saying, that kind of thing. And I got a big boost when you pushed my channel out there, and I really, really appreciated that always. But and the reason why I appreciated it is because you were genuine about it. Some people come out there, yeah, well, I'll push, yeah, they just get all nonchalant about it, like whatever. Well, you actually cared. And I think I kind of stuck on that a little bit, because I've been with you before any of that. I was with you when you had that fire in your condo downstairs. I'm not sure if you remember. I'm sure you remember it, but I'm not sure if anybody else does.
Somebody vandalized outside my door. They lit a fire outside my door.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff we deal with as YouTubers.
Yeah.
And that's why we don't go, here's my full name and address. Here it is, so you can come and kill my family. Yes. You don't go by your...
I actually had somebody threaten the life of another creator in my chat room.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, Wages,
stuff like that.
We're a little bit behind schedule, but I want to have you on more often, man. Don't ever think about quitting, and you know that we got your back. And of course, it's
for sure.
It's hard man. It's hard to keep track of everybody. We've helped over 1,000 creators get to 1,000 or more, and some of you guys have taken off. You, of course, were doing this. You were Blue Kool-Aid before Wages World, so I'm just super happy to have you as a friend, and thank you for coming on and explaining all this. Of course, it's we'll see you in the next day. Maybe you can come back tomorrow and we'll get an update if anything gets crazy, or hopefully we'll have internet tomorrow.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, I was actually going to suggest that, because I could come back on and give you guys kind of like an updated what happened type of thing.
Let's do it.
If you want that, I can. Yeah, I can call back in.
All right, let's meet back tomorrow and see how this ends up. I'm sure everybody would love that.
Sounds good, man.
All right, you have a good day. Wages World.
I love the Fugel fam, and God bless everybody. And you can drink this Kool-Aid, right? Ain't that how I say it?
Well, God bless you as well.
All right, guys. See you later.
Have a good night. You guys, that's the right kind of Kool-Aid to drink there. Make sure to go over to Wages World. Again, that's WAGES space world. Very easy to find. Once you type in Wages World, it should pop up right at the top. Again, there's more to cover here. When Toronto Bar admits it needed rent money, neighborhood swoops in to buy its entire stock of beer. Now, this is a positive story before we go into, I'm actually going to, basically what ended up happening is they were at the edge of just going out of business. Their neighbor had heard about it and ended up swooping in and completely buying out every single piece of beer and every single piece that they had and pushing them up to where they could survive. I hope that we see more of that happening everywhere. I hope that we see those local places that you see that are going out of business, because think about it. If everybody pitches in, even if it's $1, but if it's 10,000 people, that's $10,000 that ends up saving a restaurant for a couple months or whatever. We need to see that, because right now people are being forced to close down their businesses, and some could argue for not a good or great reason. So it seems like a lot of ma and pa's are going out of business. Meanwhile, Targets and Home Depots and all of them, they're selling more than ever before. They're doing great. They're making millions and millions, if not billions of dollars. Well, meanwhile, ma and pa's are saying, hey, you can't stay open, even though those same ma and pa's, they could, push people to wear protection or PPE. Why can't they just, come up with stricter rules about having people come in? But in some places in the country, they're saying, no, you're totally closed. So it's absolutely horrible. I'm happy to see that happen. With the sun, the solar storm that may be brewing, we might have a full-on geomagnetic storm. Again, like Wade just said, we might have him back on tomorrow. We're going to take another caller here in a second, but first, Thursday Child, thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the Fugel fam. Make sure to welcome Thursday's Child. Ed Brown, thank you for the support. I appreciate that. You can write something if that wasn't a super sticker. And then Noel Turna says, quote, the explosion that killed over 100 people and a city in Lycos, West Africa a few months ago, it was a meteor. Big cover up. Noel Turna, by the way, that event, well, I don't know if this is the same one, but where there was a huge crater, they said that it was an explosive truck, but there was no sign of a truck, and it had a line coming in. If you guys remember that when I covered that, the gentleman actually screwed up live. He made a mistake, and he said something, and everybody could tell that he just totally screwed up. Basically, he said it wasn't a truck, and then he said some other stuff. That was a meteor. And why would they, let me ask you this, why would they be hiding that a meteor hit West Africa? Why would the rest of the world hide that a huge meteor hit West Africa? Ask yourself that question. Totally correct on that one. Soul Woman, thank you. Massive support of the show. Totally unnecessary. Super appreciated. Soul Woman, thank you so much for being here and supporting us. Abe Wheeler. Again, that's Abe Wheeler. Make sure to welcome Abe Wheeler to the channel. Rita Clements. Make sure to welcome Rita and Abe. Welcome to the fam. And then Michael De La Roca says, I find your candor, your open-mindedness, and the topics you cover refreshing. Thank you for such a wide range of topics in your repertoire. Michael De La Roca, hey, thank you. We appreciate it, and that is also due to Dex as well. We both spend a lot of time putting the show together beforehand. Dex does a lot of the tech stuff, gets the website ready, updates all that. So again, I can't take full credit. JR Pale Horse says, Adam, my uncle told me about fighting the Chinese in Korea in 1953. Says, I fought a war in 2004. God help us if we have to fight China here. That was, again, JR Pale Horse. I agree with you there. Peggy Neal, blessings to you, Dex, and the Fugel fam. Love the show. Thank you. And then Jonathan Nunn says, my thoughts for Jupiter and Saturn alignment will affect more on Earth. Haven't been able to do this in a couple days ago. Merry Christmas, everyone. Jonathan, $100 super chat. That is massive. Again, thank you. As you know, YouTube ends up taking 30% of that. So again, if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. Thank you. That is super, super appreciated. We appreciate it more than ever. Just to let you know, you don't have to do that much at all. It hurts, seeing YouTube get that. Bunker King, thank you so much for subscribing. I Speak English, welcome. Jessica de los Santos, again, welcome to the Fugel fam. All of you guys. And then Jonathan Nunn, Jupiter and everything else that's going on, do you think, and this is a question right to you, do you think that all of these this uptick in asteroids, and I will prove that to you guys here in most likely in the next day. We wanted to do it today, but we will prove it to you that it is not only doubled and tripled and quadrupled. We'll show you that. We'll show you the stats. What is going on? Why? Why is it going up all of a sudden in the last 3 years? In the same 3 years that we form Space Force, that we do all of these asteroid missions, that we do a simulation in New York simulating an actual meteor hitting. Remember, Event 2.1 was a practice for what is going on now. Well, those same drills are actually happening with NASA and FEMA. What ended up happening right after Event? What ends up happening after the big drill they say that is going to happen at the very beginning of 2021 for these meteors? Just saying. Let's see here. Let's get our next caller on. It looks like we have Ozark Mountain, first-time caller. We're going to have to probably cut these two to the regular limit, just our regular limit here. Ozark Mountain, first-time caller, talking about seeing lots of plane farts here. Let's see here. We got tons of links
Adam,
here.
how you doing, buddy?
Don't know if I'll be able to get to all the links here, but I will try. What's going on?
Not a lot. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. So what are we looking at here?
I'm a truck driver, and I'm from Southwest Missouri, and today I'd noticed a bunch of plane farts going on, especially with the CME coming in. I usually pay attention to what's going on up in the sky, and I haven't seen that many in a long time. It's been since the beginning of the year since I've seen that, and I just thought I'd share it with you guys.
Oh, no, and by the way, anybody else that has these kind of pictures, send them to us, and you can also send us videos at marfugelnews.com/playmyvideo. It's not just you. In fact, a ton of people, Ozark Mountain, are sending these in, and some of them are so insane, they're grids. Or if you've ever watched Mr. MBB333, if you've noticed the last 2 weeks, he has been getting some insane photos as well. It's all over the place, and I just don't understand how they can be so blatant, and people are still not understanding what is actually going on here. Now, there's an article here. What is this article about? Is there something that you wanted us to share here?
That's a article about the Pensmore Mansion. I live pretty close to it and watched it get built, and it's quite interesting what it's capable of and what it does and who's involved with it.
Can you just briefly explain what is it? Is this a doomsday bunker type thing, or?
Yeah, it's definitely a doomsday type bunker. It's the largest single dwelling house in the United States, 72,000 square feet, completely 100% self-sufficient, 100% off-grid. It can withstand an EF5 tornado, nuclear bomb. It's been told that there's caves underneath it, in and out from all around the area. And it's the owner of it, it's there in the article. I don't want to say too much, get you in trouble. But most of the information is on that article, but we watch it get built, and it's still being used right now. I drive by it almost every day, and lights are always on, and people are always in and out of it.
I almost feel like I saw the beginning of this mansion. I want to say that there was an episode of kind of Doomsday Preppers or something, and This gentleman with multiple kids was building something in Ozarks?
You're thinking of Jesse Ventura's conspiracy something others. I don't want to.
Was there a family
and get you in trouble?
Was there a family on there that was making a house like this? It was above ground. That's why I remembered it. It was something like this in, I believe, the Ozarks.
No, that one was. If you're thinking of Doomsday Preppers, that guy was down in Florida.
Now, let me ask you a question. With the Ozarks, why do so many people go to the Ozarks? Why does it have a reputation for people getting away and going there? Can you explain that as somebody who actually lives there?
Yeah, they say it's one of the most safest places, basically here in the United States. And I'm not recommending everybody to start moving out here, please. But with all the hills and us being on top of limestone, we have huge cave systems down here. Kansas City, St. Louis, Joplin, Carthage. They say that if an earthquake happens, the most safest place for anybody to be at is inside those caves. Don't ask me how that's even possible, but I've driven semis in the cave up in Kansas City before. They're that big, you literally get lost in them. But they say it's pretty safe, and there's a lot of lakes, lot of resources in the area for people to survive.
You know, I expect, like, if a nuclear bomb went off, for them to say, oh, you know, these caves are the safest. But it is so weird, like you said, to think about that's the safest place for an earthquake. I guess it's because of the limestone itself is one of the best structures, I guess, or how the rock is made. I don't know. You might be able to. You probably know more than I do, but yeah, that does sound weird.
I've always wondered why they say it's the safest place. I don't have an answer for that. But they say that Pensmore Mansion is actually supposed to be the NWO headquarters when that happens.
Oh, weird. I definitely want to look more into it. There's also, I'm going to pull up this third link here. Let's see here. Now it says, oh, this is Google Maps. Is this a different one, or is this the same one, or is this the full-on picture of this thing? This thing's huge.
I think Dex may have put that on there.
Jeez. That thing is incredible.
That and, if you don't mind, Adam, I'd like to go down memory lane with you for a minute. I've been a long-time listener. I've been listening back when you had like a zombie on your screen. Every time somebody subscribed, that thing would go off. You had like 30-something thousand people on there. I've listened to you. I'm a truck driver, so I get to see everything. I have time, put my headset on, and I just truck and listen to you. I've actually been able to send a lot of my friends over to you, and with your knowledge and stuff that I have from your show that I've received, I've been able to share with other people and help other people prep. I've prepped myself. My wife, she's finally on board with it and stuff. And so, yeah, I appreciate that about you, man. I've really seen you guys grow. And there's some other people out there that don't show up on the show anymore. Mike, Grateful Mountain Relief, the contractor, if everybody remembers the contractor.
Oh, I'm sure. I know there's a lot of new people. There's a lot of new people, but the contractor's calls, everybody would email me for days after the contractor, and then he disappeared. The Magic Mountain or whatever the mountain, I forget. You said it. He would call in, and then we had several. We had the paranormal lady who would call in all the time. She just kind of disappeared. It seems like a cycle. I don't expect anybody to watch that long, but it sounds like, and especially a lot of truckers have watched this show for a long time, ever since I was small. You're talking about when I just was using the basic webcam with OBS and I didn't know what I was doing. It would beep and blast every time somebody made any kind of donation. So I actually told people not to donate. Do you remember when I said you don't? I never asked for anything.
Yeah, there for a long time, man. You're like, I'm not asking for nothing. You guys do whatever you guys want, but yeah, I do remember that.
Of course, we're trying to expand and other people are involved now, but I do appreciate you being here so long, and thank you for calling in tonight. On top of that, another thing to show people, and this goes to everybody, the reason why we point out things like the fact that a month, 2 months before the pandemic, there was no word of it. We showed you that we were very adamant about it for an entire month, saying, hey, get ready for this, have supplies. And we specifically told you that a pandemic was on its way. The best thing about that is if you share with somebody else and they go, who is this joker? Go back and say, okay, I'll show you this video. Show them that video, proof they know something, and then go look at the date on that. They knew what they were talking about. And then they might be open to watching. And then slowly they might argue or get triggered. But then if they watch more and more, the more that we cover, the more chances that they will open up and their cognitive dissonance will open up. There's a reason why we try to be funny too, is because that lowers people's walls so they can actually, you can't, if you've got that wall up, you'll never get past cognitive dissonance. So, for you truckers, it's really amazing because you guys are able to just listen on long drives, and the long show form is actually great for you guys. So I appreciate all of you guys. That's why we did our truckers hotline, and I believe it's still on there. So you guys could call in if you saw something across the country, and let us know about it. So thank you so much for calling in. Is there anything else you want to say before you go?
No, I'll let you go. Oh, there's one thing I'd like to tell you. Your encounter episodes that you're doing every week, those are pretty awesome. I definitely listen to those. I've listened to 2 or 3 of them that you've done, and if there's people that don't listen to those, make sure you listen to those. There's good stories on there, good call-ins on that, and good information.
I think it's going really well, and that's Unidentified Fridays or Encounter Fridays or whatever you want to call them, because we forever said that we were going to do that. We have so many emails and so many people that have sightings. Remember, you can actually send your UFO footage or any sighting to marfugalnews.com/playmyvideo, or if it's sightings of military nature or crazy stuff, whatever, send it to that site. Again, go there and it will explain exactly what we're talking about. Well, thank you so much. Ozarks Mountain, it's your first time call. Don't make it your last. Call if you see something around the country, let us know. You're driving. You guys are the ones that are on the ground, really seeing all of the crazy stuff that's going on. So thank you. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being with me for this long. And I hope you never go anywhere. And I hope you're safe out there on the road. Again, that's something that really means a lot to me. So thank you.
Thanks, Adam.
All right.
Have a good night.
Have a good night. That was Ozark Mountains, and this is in the Ozarks. This is crazy, unless you missed that, or in case you missed that. This mansion can withstand pretty much anything, and it's above ground. I'm sure that there's a below ground part, but I think something about this, I feel like I've seen a documentary about when it was being built. As you can see, it still has the gray parts, so I feel like it's not 100% finished or something. Feels like it's not done, like they haven't done everything. Donna Hewlett, thank you for subscribing. As always, guys, welcome Donna Hewlett to the Fugel fam. Welcome. We always welcome new folks here. Thank you for subscribing. That means a lot. You are a human being behind a computer screen or a phone. You're watching. You're giving us your time, so that means a lot. Ana Trejos says, thank you so much for your hard work to keep us informed with the latest data. You and Dex make a great team. You also have the biggest heart and love to help others. Well, thank you, Anna, and I appreciate that so much. Thank you. And thank you guys. You guys have really just gone above and beyond, especially this week. And if you guys only knew, thank you. All right. Next caller is, we've got, let's see here. Austin, another first-time caller. We've had so many great first-time callers lately. It's just been awesome. Linus Tech Tip says Cyberpunk video game billboard in-game predictive programming. Ooh, I love seeing these. Let's get Austin on. First time call.
Adam.
Austin, you're live.
Adam.
Yes.
Hey, it's Dex. I'm getting Austin on the line right now. Just to give you a heads up, there's less than 5 on the YouTube show. Okay.
Okay, let me make sure. I think I got everybody on YouTube. If you, by the way, I just before you start, Austin, YouTube is going to cut off at 2 hours. Otherwise, it has 24 hours processing. If you want to join us over on D Live, we'll try to get this call at least so you can get the gist of it. But the shoutro and the rest of the show will be on D Live. We cut on YouTube. Okay. You can go right over to D Live and you'll be able to see the whole thing. Austin, let's get your call in here so we can get you on YouTube. So what is this?
For like 2 minutes.
What is this?
Okay, if you want to pull up Linus Tech Tips new video, it's the first one on the top. It's about Cyberpunk 2077.
Okay,
hey, Austin, it's Dex.
And if you'll
Adam,
go,
I got you a screenshot of it already, so you can go directly to the screenshot.
Oh, cool. So, all right. So this is the newest Linus Tech Tip video. And, okay, so in the game, he's playing the game, and is that Passion of the Christ? Oh, weird.
Yeah, and underneath it says coming soon, so I just felt like the Lord put it on my heart to share it with people.
Oh, that is creepy. And this is in Cyberpunk. What? Wait, does that game have a year? Is that what does it say?
It ain't even out yet. It's not even out yet.
But is it Cyberpunk 2025 or does it have? What is the game called?
2077. Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh,
that's a pretty big game.
That is weird. And of course, Linus gets to try it out first. Now. Along with this, Austin, there's other predictive programming out there, and this goes to everybody. Whenever you see this kind of stuff, you did the right thing. Make sure you guys grab a screenshot, grab a picture of it. I think that there is a lot more, and people have a hard time believing that this may be real. But honestly, the world is so crazy. What's crazier, this or what is really going on?
I can't even watch a movie anymore without, picking something out of it. I stay on point with that stuff.
No,
but that one was just really grabbed a hold of me.
Well, I agree. Well, Austin, is there anything else you want to say before you go?
No, that was it, brother.
All right. Well, Austin, you have a great night, and thank you so much for calling. That was Austin, first-time caller. I'll make sure to not make it your last. Dex, thank you so much for an amazing time tonight. That was our last caller. We are going to be heading over to D Live. In fact, I might actually have something to show you guys that I cannot show you here. And actually, I'm going to talk about that in just a few seconds. In fact, we're going to be talking about this just over on D Live. So, Dex.
And Adam, we're about to make the switch right now, so just give everybody a heads up.
All right, you guys, we're going to do the shoutro, which is where we say thank you to everybody that matters most. Susan Donahue, thank you so much for being an amazing person. If you missed this, if you're watching the replay, I appreciate you. I really do. And then, again, be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. And everybody on D Live, again, if you don't know, to get over there, I hope